In this module, we will learn the inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs of the control costs process. Control costs is the process of proactively comparing actual project execution to the approved plan to document the performance of the project and influence factors that can bring future project performance closer in line with the plan. One popular technique is earned value technique. In this process, the project management team observes the cost of project work as compared to the approved plan to determine performance. When a variance exists, corrective and preventative change requests should be generated to help bring future results closer in line with approvals. The tools and techniques listed in this process are all similar to the variance analysis technique used in control scope. Since most monitoring and controlling processes focus on comparing project execution with approved plans, we can expect to find both planning and executing components as inputs. The project management plan includes the cost management plan, which describes how this process should be performed, and it includes the cost baseline, which is the reference point for all cost performance measurement. The project funding requirements include the cost baseline as well as an additional layer of management reserves. If unidentified risks occur and impact cost performance, the project management team may make a formal request to have the management reserves added to the baseline. Work performance data is data regarding the status of activities being performed to accomplish project work. It is generated as an output of the direct and manage project work process. This data may include the reported percentage of work completed and costs incurred to date. Finally, organizational process assets may include policies, procedures, and reporting methods or templates related to controlling change. There are several tools and techniques used in the control costs process. Collectively, they all represent a comparison between planned and actual performance to determine project cost performance and ways to bring future project results closer in line with the plan. Variance analysis is the technique of comparing actual costs for work completed with the planned costs of that work in the cost baseline to detect variations. Cost variances can be used to determine if corrective or preventative action is needed. This may include earned value analysis and trend analysis. Earned value management is the use of various mathematical formulas to measure cost and schedule performance. This chapter of the online training includes a separate module to explain earned value management and the many related terms and formulas. Reserve analysis is used to monitor contingency and management reserves. If it is evident that a risk event will not occur, the associated contingency reserve may be removed from the cost baseline. If unidentified risks occur affecting cost performance, the project management team may make a formal request to have the management reserves added to the baseline. Two Complete Performance Index is a calculation used to determine the cost performance that needs to be achieved to complete the work remaining within a management goal, such as budget at completion. This will be explained in more detail in the forecasting module. Finally, project management information systems may be used to help automate the tracking and reporting of earned value measurements. Let's take a graphical look at the control cost process by using an example. A particular work package was estimated and approved to cost $10,000 and take 10 days to complete. This orange line represents our cost baseline. After 10 days of work, the project manager collects status reports from the team, also known as work performance data, and learns that the task is complete and $12,000 was spent. We will use a tool and technique known as variance analysis to examine the difference between what was planned and what actually happened. Since we spent more than was planned to complete the work, we may say that we are over budget and could even measure this. In contrast, performance reviews could also discover that work is completed under budget. There are three key outputs to the control cost process. Work performance information represents the documentation of how the project is performing relative to the approved plan. For example, it could describe that the project performance is consistent with the plan, that the project is over budget, or that the project is under budget. When earned value techniques are used, this performance can be measured using values such as cost variance or cost performance index. Cost forecasts are the documented predictions of future project performance and results, often based on past performance. This may include values such as estimate at completion, or EAC. Both work performance information and cost forecasts will be inputs to the monitor and control project work process, where they will be consolidated with other performance information to provide an overall understanding of project performance. The other key output is change requests. When project performance is not fully in line with approved plans, the project management team should request changes that will help to bring future execution closer in line with the plan. These requests will need to be evaluated by the Change Control Board, since they could likely impact scope, schedule, or other project objectives. Let's take a closer look at two of these outputs. Work performance information is a lot like work performance data, but with value added. Work performance data is an input to the control cost process. While this information is very useful, it has very little use without context. For example, a resource telling you how much money they spent doesn't tell you much unless you know the planned cost of the work completed. It is in the control cost process that we compare this work performance data against the plan or cost baseline through our tool and technique called variance analysis. This gives the data context, as we now have measurements or work performance information. This will be an important step for reporting performance to project stakeholders. When the sponsor asks for a brief report on the health of the project manager cannot simply hand over all of the team's status reports. The sponsor expects the project manager to perform analysis and present a comparison of where the project is versus where the project is supposed to be. Work performance information represents the outcome of variance analysis to be used for future project reporting. Change requests are an output of nearly all monitoring and controlling processes. Anytime a variance between execution and the plan is observed, a part of the project is out of control. In control costs, this might mean that the project is over budget. When this occurs, the project management team should seek ways to reduce future project costs. This could include reducing the scope of work, spending less money on resources, potentially slowing down the project, or using less expensive materials, potentially impacting quality. All of these scenarios would require changing the baselines. Therefore, a change request must be issued, allowing key project stakeholders to evaluate the impact of the change to the project as a whole. The goal is to perform this process proactively, requesting changes to bring future performance in line with the plan so that variances never get too big. Finally, many processes may lead to updates to the project management plan and/or project documents. Since the project management plan and other project documents are not subject to the same levels of approval that the baselines are, these updates will not require formal change control. Control costs is the process of proactively comparing actual project execution to the approved plan to document the performance of the project and influence factors that can bring future project performance closer in line with the plan. By performing this process continuously throughout the project lifecycle, the project should never stray too far from the baseline. In the next module, we will explore the mathematics behind earned value management.